I have some exciting news. I'm getting married. And guess what? Do you want to know who it is? Should I tell you? Oh, wow, that's great. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations on your engagement. Thanks. So my fiance is actually the son of a company president. Can you believe it? It feels like my life is going perfectly. Honestly, just being born with a decent face already makes me a winner, don't you think? I graduated from university with my sister and got a good job. And now I am marrying a rich and successful guy. Yeah, that sounds really nice. I'm glad to hear that everything's going well for you. Right? My life is seriously on a roll. I just recently quit my job in anticipation of my marriage. When I showed everyone pictures of my fiancé, the president's son, they were all super jealous. It's hilarious, really. Some of my friends from my 30s were so envious. It was funny. I mean, obviously, our backgrounds are just so different. You are really putting yourself out there, aren't you? It's one thing to say this to me, but maybe you should tone it down a bit when you're outside. What? Of course not. You think I'm going to pretend to be humble? I'm actually quite good at navigating life, you know. I can see that, but just be careful. If you keep making enemies, it could come back to haunt you later. Oh, please. It's not like you, who seems to struggle in life. I'm leading a life that's completely opposite of yours, where you had a child young and ended up alone. I haven't had to deal with any hardships at all. Well, that kind of life doesn't necessarily last forever. Especially now that you're getting married, your actions will impact your partner too. It's important to be responsible for what you say and do. Coming from someone who divorced a loser, that doesn't have much weight, does it? I mean, the way people get divorced so easily these days is ridiculous. You should think about the kids. That's something I have always thought about. And honestly, the kid that you had seems a bit slow. Plus, the kid's not exactly a looker either, so it's kind of sad. Gabby, that is way too much. You can say whatever you want about me, but leave my child out of it. Oh, look who's acting all high and mighty now. But seriously, don't you feel sorry for that kid? Having a single mother who dropped out of school, that is something to be ashamed of forever. I would definitely feel inferior about that. You can think however you want, but don't present your values as if they're universal truths or the only right way to live. Everyone carries their own burdens as they navigate life. Your reckless words will eventually come back to bite you. You should really stop acting like a child, spouting whatever comes to mind without thinking. That's hilarious. A single mother without a diploma is preaching to me now? I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for a child to have a mother like that. I'm going to make sure I never turn out like you. Do whatever you want. Oh, by the way, I'm bringing my fiancé over to meet my family soon. He wants to greet our parents, so it's happening. You and your kid better be there too, just to show face. We're technically family now, right? Though once I get married, I'll probably cut ties anyway. Wow, do you really have to say all that? Well, that's just how it is. Just promise me you won't show up looking like a mess, okay? Yeah. Are you still not here? I'm already here, you know. Can you hurry up? Yeah, sorry, I'm on my way, so please wait a bit. There was a train delay because of an accident. Huh? Are you kidding me? That's such a pathetic excuse. You should have anticipated that and left earlier. I did leave early, but this happened. I'll figure out a way to get there, so please wait. Oh, this is the worst. As if it's not bad enough that I have to introduce my low-spec sister. Now you're going to be late, too? You're really failing as a person, you know. I said I'm sorry. Whatever, I already told my fiancé that you're just my servant. Huh? What do you mean by that? Do you think I'd hang around with someone like you otherwise? You're a single mom who dropped out of high school. You're just a disgrace to the family. I told my fiance he could treat you however he wants, like a servant. Wow, if someone introduced me like that, I'd be completely disgusted by them. But whatever, I just got a taxi, so I'll be there soon. I've arrived, but where are you? What are you doing, leaving your fiancé behind? Oh, you got there? Well, that was faster than I expected. I just had some free time, so I went to the convenience store. By the way, did you meet my fiancé? Yeah, I met him. Is he treating you like a servant? You know, introducing yourself as a high school dropout and a clueless single mom.
You better kneel and apologize to her right now.
Huh? What do you mean by her? And honestly, I can't even keep up with how nonsensical this conversation is. Your logic is a bit lacking, you know, huh?
Gabby, what are you talking about? Miley, your sister, is our company's advisor and a super high-ranking executive. She's an impressive person.
Wait, are you talking about Bradley? Why is he contacting me through Miley's phone?
You introduced me as a servant, and I've been looking down on you, so I asked him what was up, and he showed me this message. I'm just devastated to learn your true nature.
Wait a minute, I'm completely lost here. You and Miley know each other?
Know each other? It's more than that. She's someone who's really helped me. I never expected to run into her like this. She's not someone you can look down on just because she's a high school dropout and a single mom. She's worked hard and achieved a lot.
Oh, is that so? I didn't know she was actually doing well in her job. And please stop treating me like the villain here. It's a fact that I became a single mother and dropped out of school.
You don't understand at all the challenges of making a living as a single mother, which is why you can say such things. Anyway, apologize to Miley. We'll talk about everything else afterward.
No way! Why should I apologize? Being a high school dropout and a single mom is entirely my responsibility and my own fault. It's her fault for choosing a life that makes you look down on yourself.
Well, now I understand. Gabby, I've lost respect for you. The engagement is off.
What? That's a bit over the top, don't you think? Wait, why? I didn't think you could be this cruel and mean. You're really a piece of work. Oh, and it's Miley, by the way. I got my phone back. He says he's leaving now. Wait, don't just take the conversation into your own hands. Are you kidding me? Don't let him go. Well, it's not happening. He seems utterly defeated now and has realized that you are someone he cannot communicate with. I don't think he has any intention of trying again. When your values are this different on something so significant, it's impossible to talk about marriage, right? Why? I haven't said anything wrong. How did we end up like this? The fact that you think you haven't said anything wrong is where it ends. Your values and his are too different. You probably tried hard to keep this facade up until now, but after exposing your true self to this extent, there's just no way. This is your fault. If you hadn't meddled, he wouldn't be angry. I get it that you don't want me to be happy in my perfect life, but please don't ruin my life. What are you talking about? If anyone is interrupting your life, it's definitely you. I'm not hindering your life at all. You forgot that you were the one who interrupted mine? I'm not to blame. You're talking about your ex-husband, aren't you? I told you before, it's his fault. He wanted to have a relationship with me because I'm prettier than you. Can you not blame everything on me? You're the one who chose him. Well, I think that myself. That's why I haven't blamed you too much until now. I just can't comprehend how someone would even think about going after their sister's fiance. It became clear that you lack common sense, and it's pointless to keep talking about things that are in the past. I can't accept that you're doing this to me. You need to fix Bradley's misunderstanding. Take responsibility. Misunderstanding? What do you mean? You're definitely making it seem like it's all my fault. I'm not that bad of a person. I've been trying my best to live my life. No, you come off as pretty terrible to me, and I'm sure Bradley sees you the same way. You seem like someone who's always relied on your privileged background and who's lived without any knowledge of real hardship. It's painfully obvious. What did you just say? Didn't you hear? I told you that being a single mother and making a living is hard work. I don't understand how you can't grasp that, especially since you're her sister and yet he can. Well, it makes sense because his father runs a business that provides services for single mothers. Now that you mention it, I think I remember hearing something about that. See? That's why I warned you that your recklessness would eventually lead to your downfall. Look where we are now. It's turned out just as I predicted. That's why I told you to be careful. This is ridiculous. I'm already engaged and set to leave my job. I can't believe he's calling off the engagement. Well, that's between the two of you. I won't get involved, but honestly, he's too good for you. You two are just not a good match. Shut up! I am getting married! If you're not going to help, then stay out of my life. I mean it. I'm cutting ties with you for good. All right, fine. To be honest, that works better for me too. Let's do that.
Miley, I'm truly sorry for showing you such an unpleasant side. No, I mean, I'm really sorry for dragging you into our issues. I never imagined it would turn out this way. I apologize for the trouble.
No, I should be the one apologizing. My sister was the one causing you trouble. You must have been so shocked.
Yes, honestly, I was so shocked I could hardly believe it. But after Miley showed me the messages, I had no choice but to believe it. I'm really grateful that I learned the truth about her before we got married.
I agree. I was also relieved that I happened to meet you at the time when Gabby wasn't around. If she'd been here, you probably would have witnessed an ugly argument between sisters, which would have been unpleasant for everyone involved. And it's just a shame that you came all this way to formally meet with the family to announce the engagement.
Oh, no, not at all. Honestly, if I had seen any kind of argument between you two, I probably would have been even more certain about my decision to end things with her. I'm grateful I could talk to you like this without her around.
I'm glad to hear you say that, but I can't help feeling somewhat responsible for getting in the way of your engagement like this. It's just a little hard to ignore that the two of you were so close to getting married, and I feel somewhat responsible for ruining that.
No, really, you don't have to feel that way. Actually, truth be told, I already had some doubts about marrying her. It's a bit of a separate issue, but now that I've seen her true nature, I realize it's better that I learned this now than later.
Oh, wait a moment. You were feeling betrayed?
Yeah. When I found out what she really thought about people around her, including her own sister, I started piecing things together. The way she talked about her own family, her own sibling with such disrespect. It made me question if that's how she would one day talk about me, too. She seemed to have no empathy or care, and her attitude was just so cold-hearted. I've been in relationships before, but I've never experienced this kind of malice, I guess.
I understand. Gabby's always had her strong opinions, but it's shocking to hear how far she's gone. You're absolutely right to take it seriously. No one should have to put up with such behavior, and I'm sorry you even had to experience it in the first place.
Hearing you say that makes me feel reassured. I feel like I've made the right choice. Your support means a lot. I feel like I'm finally seeing things clearly.
You're very kind. I'm sorry things turned out this way, but sometimes these challenges can be blessings in disguise. It takes strength to see what's real and make the right choices. If I can help in any way, don't hesitate to reach out.
I really appreciate it, Miley. Knowing someone like you was part of her family was what kept me hopeful for so long. I'm sorry things turned out this way, but honestly, I feel a lot lighter. Thank you for being so understanding.
You're welcome. I hope everything works out for the best for you, Bradley. Why am I being thrown out of the house? I just came home to find my stuff tossed out, and then I was told to get out. And apparently they even got your approval for this? What the hell does that mean? It's exactly what it sounds like. They have my full agreement because, well, this house, the one you're staying in, it's actually under my name. What? Are you serious? I thought Mom and Dad bought it with their pension money. Nope, they didn't. I bought this house back when my child was still little, and they were there to help me get through a lot. So I decided to return the favor by buying the place. You were the one who just decided to make it your home. So that's why they're kicking me out? But why now? You know, I'm already dealing with the heartbreak of my engagement falling apart. Couldn't you cut me some slack? Oh, I know about the engagement. I told them everything, actually. I explained how you've been spoiled and coddled far too much and that it's become an issue that just keeps repeating itself. What do you mean by repeating itself? What are you talking about? Oh, you know very well what I mean. You were engaged to Bradley, yet here you are, sneaking around with another guy. You think no one noticed? Wait, what are you talking about? What proof do you even have? Don't try to play dumb. I saw all the evidence. Bradley showed me himself. I feel so sorry for him, Gabby. Here he was, thinking he had a future with you. You couldn't have been more careless. Why? Why would Bradley even know about any of this? Honestly, you can't fool someone with a sharp mind. There are people who can see through this kind of thing. And I'd say after dealing with your behavior over the years, my instincts have become pretty sharp too. So tell me, on the day you went to the convenience store, weren't you just trying to sneak in some time to chat with that other guy? Well, but so what? That's none of your business, Miley. Whatever's going on with Bradley and me doesn't concern you. Oh, trust me, I know it doesn't directly concern me. Then why bring it up? Because I'm done with this nonsense. I've explained everything to Mom and Dad so they'd understand why it's time to take back control of my house. No more freeloaders here. You can't be serious. You went and told them all of this? Of course I did. See, you may not care since you're the one doing the damage, but the people on the other end of your recklessness, the ones who get hurt, we have every right to speak up. I know that because of you. I ended up divorcing my own husband. And then, even after that, you go and pull the same thing with another guy, causing more hurt. So, yes, I had no choice but to set things straight with our parents. Are you kidding me? I told you this has nothing to do with you. Why would you meddle like that? Do you have any idea how hard things are for me right now? I'm still trying to find a job. Oh, aren't you supposed to be this elite who graduated college? Finding work should not be an issue for you, right? Isn't that what you always claim? Sure, I might find something eventually, but honestly, I doubt you will. With that inflated sense of worth, you're bound to be picky about jobs. But here's the catch. You've quit every job you've had almost as soon as you've started. So how are you supposed to convince anyone to take you on? Employers aren't lining up to hire people like that. Stop it! I don't need you to rub it in. I already know that much. Well, get ready because Bradley told me he's planning to sue for damages. So I hope you're prepared to face the consequences of your own choices. What? Sue me? For what? You two were engaged, right? He has every right to seek damages. This is your reality now, so buckle up. No, wait, no way! I don't have that kind of money! I don't even have a place to live now! Miley, come on, please say something to him! I'll apologize for everything, just let me come back home! No, you think I'm your servant? Helping you out after everything you've done would make me nothing more than your personal doormat. I gave you plenty of chances to get your act together, Gabby. But it's clear that none of it ever meant anything to you. Please, Miley, I'm begging you, help me out here. Oh, wasn't it you who once told me we live opposite lives, that you were the successful one? Looks like it's true in a way. Now you're getting a real taste of rock bottom. Enjoy. Gabby's constant messages had become quite overwhelming, to the point where I decided to simply block her number. It wasn't an easy choice, but it felt necessary for my peace of mind. I needed some space from the incessant notifications that disrupted my day-to-day life. Gabby became the type of person who often couldn't take a hint, had a knack for overwhelming anyone with her communication, especially when things didn't go her way. The relentless barrage of texts, calls, and messages had finally pushed me over the edge. In her attempt to reach out, I learned that she had been trying to get in touch with Bradley, my friend, with the hope of apologizing to him for her behavior. It's not unusual for someone like Gabby to seek out others to mediate her conflicts, thinking that if she can just get the right person to understand her side, everything would miraculously resolve itself. However, this time things had escalated beyond mere apologies and conversations. Bradley's known for being a kind-hearted individual, always willing to lend an ear or offer support when needed. His warm demeanor makes him approachable, and many people, including Gabby, often feel comfortable confiding in him. Despite his gentle nature, there exists a more pragmatic and cold side to him when it comes to serious issues. And this situation with Gabby was no exception. After enduring her disruptive behavior for far too long, he had reached his breaking point too. I found out that he had made the difficult decision to consider taking legal action against Gabby. This was significant because Bradley typically avoided confrontation and rarely resorted to such extreme measures. The fact that he felt pushed to this extent showed how serious the situation had become. I knew that he had always been patient with Gabby, having tried numerous times to advise her on her behavior and how it impacted those around her, but it seems that despite his best efforts, Gabby was incapable of understanding the consequences of her actions. In the past, he had spoken to her, expressing his concerns and encouraging her to change her ways, but it felt like talking to a brick wall. Each conversation would end with promises from Gabby that she would do better, that she would make changes, but ultimately, those were just empty words. Time and again, he tried to guide her, offering constructive feedback, but Gabby would often brush it off or become defensive, insisting that she was fine just the way she was. As I reflected on the situation, it struck me that with people like Gabby, sometimes they need to hit rock bottom before they can truly comprehend the impact of their behavior. I thought about how difficult it must be for someone who has been coddled or shielded from the harsh realities of life to understand what it means to face consequences. Gabby, in her own little world, often seemed detached from the struggles and emotions of those around her. This lack of awareness isn't unique to her. It's something I've noticed in people who have never had to deal with the repercussions of their actions. They often live in a bubble, believing that they can act however they wish without facing the fallout. This is especially true for Gabby, who has often been treated with kid gloves by those around her, including her family and friends. The constant support and validation she received allowed her to continue her behavior without realizing how it affected others. Bradley's been a voice of reason for her, but now it seemed like even he had reached his limits. The kind-heartedness he usually exhibited had turned into a steely resolve. His decisions to consider legal action was not taken lightly. It was a last resort, an indication that he could no longer tolerate the chaos she brought into his life. I wondered what it would take for Gabby to finally understand the seriousness of her actions and the pain they caused others. It was painful to watch, knowing that despite Bradley's best intentions, Gabby might not learn her lessons until it was too late. I felt a mix of sympathy for both of them. For Bradley, I understood the frustration of trying to help someone who doesn't see the need for help. For Gabby, I felt pity because she was on a path that could lead to significant isolation if she didn't change her ways. I knew deep down that if she continued down this road, she would find herself alone, without the support of those who once cared for her. As I pondered the situation further, I considered the dynamics of their relationship. It was complex, to say the least. Bradley had always been the patient one, willing to listen to Gabby's woes and provide comfort when she was upset. However, Gabby had become increasingly demanding over time, relying on him as her emotional crutch, without reciprocating the same level of care. It's a dynamic that often occurs in relationships where one party feels entitled to the support of another without realizing the toll it takes. In my conversations with Bradley, he had expressed his exasperation with Gabby's inability to appreciate his kindness. He felt like he was giving and giving, but in return he received nothing but more demands for attention and understanding. I could see how this had begun to wear him down, leading to his decision to take a stand against her. Even as I contemplated all of this, I couldn't help but think about the moments that defined their interactions. There had been times when Gabby was genuinely sweet and caring, but those instances seemed few and far between compared to her more demanding and inconsiderate behavior. I wondered if she was capable of change or if she would continue to spiral further into her self-centered ways. Bradley had tried to remain hopeful throughout their friendship, believing that there was a part of Gabby that could recognize her shortcomings and make an effort to improve. He would often recount moments where she showed potential for growth, moments where she demonstrated empathy or kindness to others. But those instances were always overshadowed by her more manipulative and attention-seeking tendencies. It was as if every step forward was followed by 2 steps back, and it left Bradley feeling exhausted and defeated. Ultimately, it was a difficult lesson for both Bradley and Gabby. For Bradley, the lesson was about setting boundaries and knowing when to say enough is enough. For Gabby, it was a harsh awakening that her actions had consequences and that she couldn't always rely on others to pick up the pieces for her. The road ahead would be challenging, and it would require both of them to confront the truth about their relationship and their respective roles within it. As I continued to reflect on their dynamic, I couldn't shake the feeling of sadness for what might be lost. There was a time when Bradley and Gabby shared a bond that was genuine, filled with laughter and support. But now that bond was strained to the breaking point, and I feared that the damage done could be irreparable. It was painful to see 2 people who once cared for each other reaching the point of no return. In the days that followed, I kept in touch with Bradley, hoping to provide him with the support he needed during this tumultuous time. I could sense the weight of the decision he faced pressing down on him. He was caught between his natural inclination to help others with the realization that he had prioritized his own well-being. It's a conflict many people experience when they care deeply for someone who continuously drains their emotional resources. Bradley began to open up more about his feelings, and I listened carefully as he navigated the complexities of the situation. He expressed his disappointment not only in Gabby, but also in himself for allowing things to get this far. He wondered how he had managed to get to a point where he felt he had no other option but to consider legal action. The guilt weighed heavily on him, even though I assured him that he had done everything he could to help her. I encouraged him to reflect on his own needs and to recognize that it was okay to prioritize his mental health. After all, he couldn't pour from an empty cup. I reminded him that his feelings were valid, and he had every right to protect himself from emotional turmoil. It was a long and difficult conversation, but I hoped it would provide him with some clarity as he continued to grapple with his decision. Meanwhile, I also thought about Gabby and the path she was on. I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding for her future. She was caught in a cycle of behavior that seemed to lead only to isolation and regret. I wondered if there would ever come a time that she would reflect on her actions and see the damage she had done to her relationships. It was troubling to think that she might continue to live her life oblivious to the chaos she caused. There was a part of me that hoped she would eventually reach out for help, that she would realize the importance of self-awareness and change. Perhaps hitting rock bottom could serve as the catalyst for her transformation. But I also knew that change had to come from within, so no amount of external pressure could force someone to grow if they weren't ready to do so. As I considered the broader implications of this situation, I reflected on how often we encounter people like Gabby in our lives. Individuals who struggle to take responsibility for their actions, who navigate life without considering the impact they have on those around them. It's a harsh reality that many of us must face, and it can be incredibly disheartening to watch someone spiral downward, seemingly oblivious to the consequences of their behavior. The situation with Gabby and Bradley served as a reminder of the importance of boundaries in relationships. It highlighted the necessity of recognizing when someone's behavior becomes detrimental and knowing when to take a step back for the sake of one's own well-being. Sometimes love and friendship aren't enough to sustain a relationship. Sometimes tough love is required to bring about change. As I continued to support Bradley, I hoped he would find the strength to follow through with his decision, whatever that might be. Whether he ultimately chose to pursue legal action or find another way to address the situation, I wanted him to feel empowered in his choice. It was important for him to understand that he had agency over his own life, that he didn't have to tolerate behavior that was harmful to him. In the end, I hoped that both Bradley and Gabby would learn valuable lessons from this experience. Whether they realized it or not, for Bradley it was an opportunity to assert himself and prioritize his needs. For Gabby, it could be a wake-up call, a chance to reflect on her behavior and consider the changes necessary for her to build healthier relationships moving forward. Life often presents us with challenges that test our resilience and force us to confront uncomfortable truths. The situation was no different. I knew that whatever the outcome, both of them would be forever changed by the experience. It was a bittersweet realization, but it also gave me hope. Because sometimes, through the struggles and heartaches, we find the strength to grow, to evolve, and to become better versions of ourselves.
Well, my boss invited me, so I'll be going on another resort trip this weekend. It's just for business, but still, spending my days off with my boss. Seriously, it's such a drag.
What? Again? Isn't that a bit too much? You've been going away all the time these last few months, haven't you? Don't you think it's about time you took a break? I mean, even if it's a resort trip.
I guess so, but it's not like I dislike going to a resort. I don't mind it, and since it's for work, there's no point in complaining about it, right?
True, but still, it feels like we hardly have any time together as a couple. And remember, we had plans to visit my parents this weekend. You said you'd come with me.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. It's not like I'm choosing this over you. I have work commitments too, you know? You can go to your parents' house by yourself. Even if I go, it would just be for show. The kids will be happy just to see my face for a bit.
I get that it might seem trivial to you, but don't you think the kids would want to spend some time with their dad? And honestly, going back home with the kids alone is no walk in the park for me. You've never had to take care of them on your own, so you wouldn't understand.
Come on, saying you have a hard time with the kids when you can have such adorable children all to yourself is really a spoiled complaint, don't you think?
If you think it's just about how cute the kids are, then that proves you're not really involved in raising them. It's not just about them being cute. There are plenty of challenges that come with it, too.
If the kids heard you say that, they'd be so upset. Seriously, you sound like a pretty terrible mother.
If you think you can handle it better, then why don't you try doing it yourself? Stop enjoying your trips with your boss and take the kids on a trip by yourself at least once. Or even just stay home and take care of them alone for a bit. Trust me, you'll regret saying that.
Excuse me? What are you talking about? You have no idea how difficult it is to travel with my boss. That's why you can say such things. I'm not going on trips with my friends. It's all really stressful.
I used to go on those kinds of trips before we had kids too, you know. But ever since the kids were born, it's always been me taking care of them because you can't handle it alone, right? Realistically speaking, traveling with my boss just isn't something I can do without your support. So tell me, if I said, hey, I'm going on another 2-night resort trip with my boss, so can you take care of the kids? Would you really do that? Because I'm juggling work, house chores, and parenting over here. It's not easy for me.
You're so annoying. It's because you always act like you're so put upon that I don't want to help. If you just keep your mouth shut, I might actually want to help out. It's the way you say things that makes me want to back off.
First of all, what do you mean by helping? Parenting is something we should do together, especially since both of us work. Do you think it's normal for me to be the one solely responsible for the kids just because I'm a woman? You're not just here to help. You should be taking an active role. The very idea that I have to ask for help is what's wrong here.
Oh, you're so damn annoying. If you have complaints, go home to your parents and tell them. Anyways, I have to work with my boss this weekend. I'm not coming home, so don't bother contacting me.
This conversation is going nowhere. Hey, answer your phone. This is an emergency. I just rushed to leave you a voicemail. Why haven't you responded at all? Right now, all of our family members are rushing to the hospital and we need you here too. You have to come as soon as you see this message. It's really serious. We're all very worried and it's important that you get here as quickly as possible. The situation is critical and we don't know what's going to happen. It's really dangerous, and the last thing we need is for anyone to delay in getting here. The kids are with me, so just come straight to the hospital without stopping at home. We'll be waiting for you here, and I know it's a lot to ask, but it's important that we're all together right now. Please understand how urgent this is. I wouldn't be calling you like this if it weren't a serious situation. I really need your support right now, and the kids need their dad, too. They're scared, and we all want to be there for each other during this tough time. It's moments like this that remind us of how important family is, and we can't do this without you. So please, as soon as you get this message, drop everything and head over to the hospital. We're all really counting on you to be here with us. I can't stress enough how crucial it is that you come. I'll keep you updated on what's happening as soon as I can, but right now just focus on getting here. We need to stick together as a family in times like this. Please hurry.
I'm so tired. Traveling with my boss is exhausting. And what's with this mountain of messages? I got your voicemail and it sounded so dramatic. You were like, "Your mother is in critical condition. Come to the hospital immediately." It felt like something straight out of a drama series. By the way, where have you been? Today was supposed to be the day you were coming home, and yet there's no food prepared at home?
Oh, you finally returned. Well, I'm at my parents' place letting the kids rest. Honestly, I'm surprised you managed to come back from your trip considering the situation.
And about your mom being in critical condition? I really don't care. You were just on vacation, weren't you? Are you still lounging around at your parents' house? Lucky you. So what's going on with the old lady? Not that it has anything to do with me.
We just finished my mother-in-law's funeral. We're currently gathered here to talk things over.
Wait, what? Your mother-in-law? Hold on a second. Are you saying that your mother-in-law is actually my mother?
Yes, that's right. Didn't your dad call you? He mentioned he left you a message, too.
Huh? My dad did send me a message saying to come home right away and go to the hospital, but...
So you were blocking your communications from your relatives? That explains why I hadn't heard anything. I guess you were too busy worrying about how to manage your trip with your boss, huh?
Well, of course. I'd find it annoying if I were getting all these bothersome messages from my family while I'm with my boss. Wait a second, are you seriously telling me that it's my mother?
I've been telling you that. We've been extremely busy with the funeral arrangements. I tried to contact you so you could see her one last time, but instead, you decided to ignore all the messages and just enjoy your vacation, only to come back now. Honestly, even your family is at a loss for words about it.
I know, but I didn't think something like this would happen.
But your mom had been suffering from heart issues for a long time, right? It was bound to get worse. When I got the call saying she had taken a turn for the worse and was in critical condition, you should have come right away. If you had, you could have seen her one last time.
I can't believe this happened! Mom!
I'll be heading back home with the kids once everything settles down here, so you're an adult, just take care of yourself for now. You had no idea how hard it's been trying to juggle everything. While you were off enjoying your trip, I was dealing with the kids and the situation here. I can't believe you didn't think to check your messages and respond sooner.
I didn't think it would turn out like this! I thought we had more time!
You really should have been more aware. It's not just about your vacation. You have responsibilities and family to think about. The least you could do is check in, especially when things are serious. You may be relaxed right now, but the reality is that life doesn't stop for anyone.
I get that, okay? I really do, but sometimes I just need a break from all of this.
I understand needing a break, but there's a time and a place for everything. When family is involved, especially with such grave matters, you can't just ignore it. I wish you'd been here to support me and the kids when it mattered.
You're right. I should have been more considerate. I just didn't think it would escalate this quickly.
Now it's too late. I hope you realize how important family is and how vital it is to be present during tough times. You can't just turn your back on your responsibilities.
I promise I'll do better next time. I just hope it won't be under these circumstances again.
It's not about making promises now. It's about learning from this experience. Family means being there for each other, no matter the situation. So please try to remember that. Thanks for waiting, Mary. I'm all set over here. Kaylin, thank you so much. You got here much faster than I expected. This really helps me out. Right? I mean, this is a big deal for you, so of course I'm going to move quickly to help. But I really can't believe that guy. He's unbelievable. I appreciate it. I truly do. At first I was completely overwhelmed and didn't know what to think. But now everything is starting to connect, you know? It feels like I can finally make sense of it all. Yeah, I get that. I was hesitant about whether or not to tell you at first too, but I really want you to find happiness. You've been doing so much on your own with the kids. It's a relief that it finally turned out this way. Kaylin, I can't thank you enough for everything. Oh, it's nothing, really, but seriously, the world feels small sometimes, doesn't it? So, are you prepared for what's coming next? Are you really going to follow through and put an end to this? Absolutely. I know that this is the best outcome for me. I see. Well, that's great. Then let's stick to the plan and go for it. I'm honestly looking forward to this. I can hardly contain my excitement. It's like all the pieces are finally falling into place and I'm ready to take action. I've been waiting for the right moment to make my move, and now that I have your support, I feel much more confident. Knowing that I have someone like you in my corner makes all the difference. You know how much I've struggled with this situation, and just thinking about finally putting it behind me fills me with hope. I can't wait to reclaim my life and start fresh without all this baggage holding me back. This is going to be a turning point for me, and I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next. Let's do this together and make it happen. I've got your back just like you've got mine through this entire process. So let's get everything organized and take the first step. I'm ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead with newfound determination.
By the way, I've got another golf trip with my boss next weekend. I was sleeping when you came back yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to talk to you.
Wait, what? Again? How can you even think about going on another trip after everything that's happened? Your mother is in such a serious condition because you were away on vacation. Don't you think it's time to take a break from all this traveling?
I do think about it, but what can I do? It's a work obligation, and I have no choice but to go. Plus, especially in times like this, I want to forget everything for a while and just have some fun. And you shouldn't be complaining about things at a time like this.
You did tell your boss about your mother's situation, right? He's still inviting you despite everything? That says a lot about him, too.
Huh? What do you know about my boss? It's fine if you want to criticize me, but don't speak ill of my boss.
What are you talking about? You've told him you had kids, right? If he knows you have a wife and children, he's still inviting you out. That's just disrespectful.
Shut up! We've got our own circumstances here. I'm in a good position with my boss, so there's nothing I can do about it.
That makes it even worse. Can't you just tell him that your wife is upset? Were you in such a position that you couldn't say that?
Talking to you is pointless. Seriously, you're such a difficult person to deal with. It's like you've completely changed since you got married and had kids.
I think you're the one who changed me. Don't you realize it? You act like nothing has changed in your life despite having kids, living your life like you're still single. How long do you think you can go on like this, expecting to be taken care of like a child? Don't you understand that you're a parent now?
Oh, right. So everything is my fault, huh? Just go ahead and be friendly with the kids. I'll be off having fun with my boss while you're at it.
Fine, I get it.
What are you thinking? Why are you in a place like this?
That's what I was going to ask you. What are you doing sneaking into a married woman's house while her husband is away on a business trip and having a cozy overnight getaway, just the two of you? Looks like you're not even in the same company, and you're not going out golfing either. What happened to that supposed golf trip with your boss?
Are you kidding me? You weren't following me, were you?
Well, technically speaking, it wasn't me. I just had a professional investigator check things out for me. And it turns out you were having yet another overnight getaway at your girlfriend's house today. So I thought, this is ridiculous, and decided to crash the party.
The audacity! You're the one who should be saying that! Your girlfriend must have been so shocked that she started crying, right?
At a time like this, you're still worried about her? Oh, this is hilarious. You came out half naked, for crying out loud. Sure, I had my friend ring the doorbell so you wouldn't know I was here, but still. How could you be so foolish? It's disgusting. There's no way out of this, is there?
By the way, why are my relatives here with you?
I brought them along. Just showing evidence wasn't going to cut it. They said it must have been a misunderstanding. So I asked them to come to the scene with me. That way they could see the undeniable proof with their own eyes, right?
You've got to be kidding me! How did it come to this?
That's what I was about to say. Could you bring your girlfriend out here already? If you don't want to talk outside, then just let us in the house. We can all have a nice chat together, can't we?
Are you insane? There's no way I could accept such a chaotic situation.
But you're the one who created this chaos. You left the kids with me, and here you are cozying up with your girlfriend. As a father, as a man, and as a human being, you're the lowest of the low.
Well, that's because ever since you became a mother, you've been all about the kids. You've lost any charm or femininity you might have had, so it's no wonder.
You think that's a valid excuse for your actions? I have every right to want to protect the child I brought into this world with my life, and I believe that wholeheartedly. If we could have co-parented together, maybe I could have felt like a woman again. But you've done nothing but come home and leave all the cooking, cleaning, and child rearing to me, while you play with the kids only when they're in a good mood. You sit there fiddling with your phone instead of helping with their studies. I simply don't have the time to deal with a pathetic man like you. If you wanted attention, you should have made time for me.
There's no need to pile it on like that. How did you even figure this out?
You underestimate a woman's intuition, don't you? The moment you started going out more, I felt something was off. You stopped wanting to be intimate, and then there were those little moments where you'd compare me to other women. You really had no idea you were doing that, did you?
Huh? Was I doing that?
Yes, you were. And then, just at that time, I started getting tips about you. They said you were at a resort with another woman. You'd go to popular resorts, so of course my friends would see you. This world is much smaller than you think, you know.
Wait, I was being seen like that?
Yep, and that's when I became convinced. But since I thought that alone would not be enough proof, I got my friends and a private investigator involved to prepare for a solid case against you.
A case? What do you mean? We're married, right?
We are married, huh? You're the one who betrayed me, so who are you to talk? I've been putting up with your betrayal all this time. When I told you that it was unreasonable for someone to invite you knowing that you had a wife and kids, I was angry for my beloved girlfriend, wasn't I? Just go ahead and do whatever you want because I am getting a divorce.
What? But the kids are involved too. Don't you think it's cruel for them if we divorce?
It's better for them to grow up in a warm, loving home rather than living with a father who's a traitor and watching his dysfunctional relationship with their mother.
Why would you say something like that?
Because you act so selfishly. I will definitely be filing for alimony, and as soon as the other husband gets back, I'll be talking to him. You're getting divorced from me, and you can deal with your life afterward as you please. I'll be sure to claim a hefty alimony from you, and of course you'll be paying child support too.
Stop it! This is all because you stopped being a woman. You just wanted to spend time with another woman, didn't you? You have some responsibility in this too.
Do you think I'm just going to let that slide? I'm managing everything while also taking care of 2 kids. Why do I have to continue to deal with someone who can't even take care of the children or help with the household chores?
Dealing?
I am working without any time off. If you wanted my attention, you should have saved some energy for it. You come home fiddling with your phone, eat the food I made without a second thought, take long relaxing baths in the bathroom I scrubbed clean, and sit there looking satisfied at the faces of the children I struggled to put to bed, pretending to be a father. You're a worthless man.
You don't need to say it like that.
I'm doing everything. And you expect me to be your night partner too? If you want me to keep looking beautiful by putting on makeup and taking care of my hair and skin, then you better start making time for me to do that. I am barely managing to keep myself alive and care for the children. And you think you can just go off and satisfy your own desires with other women? You don't deserve to call yourself a father.
I'm sorry, I messed up. Just don't make this a bigger deal than it is. Please don't tell her husband. I'll do my best from now on.
I don't have the space in my heart to accept the dirty person you've become. You are a criminal who broke the law, so make sure you pay for your actions. It is pathetic how you keep worrying about yourself. Oh, and just so you know, my punishments won't end here. I'll make sure to report this to your workplace as well. You were supposed to be on a trip with your boss, so we need to confirm that, don't we?
Wait, please stop. Anything but that. I'm working hard for my promotion. If you ruin that for me, my future.
Have you realized the extent of what you've done before you started talking? You have no idea how much you've hurt me. You're sacrificing the children for your own desires. Finally, my husband lowered his head, ready to admit his faults, something that took far too long. Initially, I thought he would allow me and my relatives to enter his home so that we could have a serious discussion about the situation at hand. However, to my shock and a certain degree of satisfaction, he was outright punched by her father as soon as he arrived. Witnessing that confrontation was a bizarre mix of emotions, but I must admit it left me feeling quite satisfied. It was a cathartic moment, especially considering all the pain and betrayal I'd been experiencing. The woman in question came to me and apologized deeply, going so far as to kneel before me in a gesture of contrition. I could see the remorse in her eyes as she bowed her head, trying to express her regret for what had transpired. However, I could not simply accept her apology at face value, for I had a child whose future was now entangled in this mess. My heart ached as I thought about how our lives had been turned upside down due to the actions of these adults, who seemed to act without considering the consequences. Understanding the gravity of our predicament, I made it crystal clear to her husband just how frivolous she had been in her actions with my husband. I felt it was essential for him to know the full extent of what had happened, the betrayals and the disloyalty that had transpired between them. It wasn't merely a matter of emotions, it was a violation of trust that had ramifications affecting not only the adults involved, but also the innocent children caught in the crossfire. As we engaged in this painful discussion, I realized that she seemed to be a full-time housewife, dedicating her life to maintaining her home and caring for her family. However, her world had turned upside down when her husband filed for divorce, a decision that had consequences not only for her, but also for everyone else involved. I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions watching her situation unfold. It was ironic that we both found ourselves in such unfortunate circumstances, albeit in different ways. After her husband left her, my husband faced his own set of consequences. I had reported the affair to my company, which led to my husband being reassigned to a remote location. This drastic change in his work situation felt like a punishment that fit the crime. But it was also a bitter reminder that we were both paying for the choices made in moments of weakness and poor judgment. It was as if fate had dealt us both a harsh hand, forcing us to start down a path of disappointment and regret. In our conversation, I made sure to emphasize that this situation wasn't merely a fleeting moment of weakness. It had lasting repercussions that would follow us for years to come. I needed her to understand that while she sought forgiveness, the consequences of her actions extended far beyond a simple apology. My husband and I were now living in the fallout of their indiscretions, and it was our child who would ultimately bear the brunt of this turmoil. The stakes were high, and I couldn't allow myself to become lost in anger and revenge. As I spoke, I could see the emotions flickering across her face. Guilt, sorrow, and perhaps a hint of realization that her actions had not only harmed me, but had also disrupted her own life and family. The weight of her decisions was heavy, and I sensed that she was beginning to grasp the far-reaching effects of what she had done. It was a complex web of emotions that we were both navigating, filled with resentment and a yearning for understanding. I recounted the moments that had led to this confrontation, recalling how my husband had initially been evasive about his feelings, how he had made excuses, and how I, in turn, had been forced to confront the reality of our fractured relationship. The betrayal stung deeply, but this encounter felt like a necessary step towards resolution, or at least towards closure. We were both feeling the fallout from the choices made by those we trusted, and it was a painful yet pivotal moment. As she listened to my words, I could see her processing the information, reflecting on her own role in this saga. She began to share her perspective, explaining her frustrations and the feelings of neglect within her marriage. I listened patiently, allowing her to express herself, knowing that understanding her viewpoint was crucial in moving forward. While I sympathized with her feelings of loneliness and isolation, I couldn't let that cloud my judgment regarding the choices she had made that had led us to this point. Her story mirrored my own in some ways, and it was a stark reminder that unhappiness in a relationship can lead people to make choices they might not otherwise consider. We were both victims of our circumstances, yet I felt an overwhelming need to assert that her choices were hers alone. I wouldn't let her actions undermine the seriousness of what had transpired. The damage had been done, and acknowledging that was the first step in seeking a resolution. As the conversation continued, we both began to reflect on the changes our lives had taken. She spoke of her dreams and aspirations that had been sidelined due to the pressures of family life and the neglect she felt from her husband. In turn, I shared my struggles with maintaining stability for my child amidst the chaos. We found common ground in our shared experiences of loss, even if the roots of our problems were different. It was an unexpected connection forged through our pain. The meeting felt transformative in many ways, as we moved from being adversaries to allies in understanding our struggles. I felt a strange sense of solidarity with her, realizing that we were both navigating a rocky path filled with uncertainty and disappointment. Our conversations morphed from accusations into discussions about how we could both move forward, despite the hurt that lingered in the air. After we shared our stories, we noticed a shift in her demeanor. The tears in her eyes were replaced with a semblance of understanding and acceptance. She grasped the weight of her actions, and I could tell that she was beginning to process the implications of her choices. This encounter was not merely about seeking revenge or an apology. It had become a moment of shared understanding, an acknowledgement of the complexity of our lives. In the end, we parted ways with a newfound sense of respect for each other. It wasn't a resolution to all our problems, but it was a step toward acknowledging the reality we faced. I felt lighter somehow, as if shedding some of the burdens that had weighed me down for so long. While our paths were fraught with difficulties, we both understood that moving forward would require honesty, introspection, and the willingness to confront consequences of our own actions. As I walked away from that encounter, I felt a surge of determination. I knew I had to focus on rebuilding my life and securing a better future for my child. The challenges ahead would be significant, but I was ready to face them head-on, equipped with the knowledge that I was not alone in this journey. There was a shared understanding between us now, a recognition of our struggles, and perhaps, just perhaps, a glimmer of hope for what lay ahead. Reflecting on everything that had transpired, I realized that forgiveness was not an easy path, but it was essential for my own healing. I understood that I had to move forward, and I would have to let go of the anger and resentment that had consumed me for so long. It was a difficult realization, but it was necessary for my peace of mind. Our children were innocent in all of this, yet they were the ones who would suffer from the mistakes. Thinking about the future, I began to formulate a plan for myself and my child. I wanted to ensure that they grew up in a loving and stable environment, free from the chaos and uncertainty that had characterized our lives repeatedly. It was crucial for me to provide them with the support and guidance they needed to navigate their own lives, and that meant prioritizing their well-being above all else. The road ahead would be challenging, but I was determined to face it with courage and resilience. I knew I couldn't change the past, but I could shape the future for myself and my child. Through hard work and determination, I would strive to create a better life for us both. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I was ready to pursue it with all my heart.
Hey there, Harry. How have you been? It's been a while since you and I last talked, hasn't it? I mean, really, just how many years has it actually been? I really don't remember when the last time that I sent you a message was. Anyways, I just wanted to ask about how you were doing these days.
Hey, Toby. If you really want to know about how long it's been since you and I have last spoken, I think it has been about 3 years since we last sent each other a message. Anyways, what do you want? Why are you messaging me right now? I'm really busy, so let's make this quick, okay?
Oh, come on. Don't be like that. I just barely even sent you a message and you're already going to start acting all pissy? I really can't believe you. But then again, I guess you did always have that weird sense of pride about yourself, didn't you? Even though I really don't think you have anything to be all that proud of in the first place. And let me guess, what you're busy with is still slaving away on the assembly line at that lame factory job that you have? Isn't that right?
Look, we're in our really busy season right now, and that's why I'm really busy right now, okay? We have a lot of orders coming in from our clients, and the factory is basically operating at maximum capacity right now, so I really don't have time for this. If you have something to say to me, why don't you just spit it out already so that we can get this over with?
Jeez, you really can be a jerk sometimes, do you know that? I was only making a little joke is all, but I guess you can't even take one of those these days, can you? Wait a second. Don't tell me that you're actually still mad at me for what I did after all this time. Man, you're really such a petty little baby sometimes, do you know that? Glad to see that you haven't changed one bit in 3 years, Harry. Okay, you listen to me, you little nobody. You have got some serious nerve trying to ignore me like this. I mean, do you know how to talk to your superiors? You really must think highly of yourself if you think what you're doing right now is okay. But you're nothing compared to me. Now you are going to answer my messages right now. I mean it.
Oh my gosh, can you just hurry up and tell me what it is that you want to talk to me about? Because if you're just going to keep dancing around the point, then I don't see the point in keeping up this conversation with you. And do you seriously think that you're better than me? I really have no idea where you got that idea, but you're being delusional.
Oh, really? Do you really think I'm wrong about being better than you? If that were true, then why is it that I was able to snag myself a fiance with a really high position in his company? I'm never going to have to work another day in my life. So what do you think of that, huh? Oh, wait. I don't even care what you think. I'm the winner and you're the loser. And this is just further proof that it's always been that way. I mean, after all, anyone can tell that I'm clearly the better looking one out of the two of us. And I've always just been gorgeous anyways. So of course it would only make sense that I would finally found my rich Prince Charming.
Is that what all of this is about? You just wanted to tell me that you were getting married? Well, great. Good for you. Congrats on that. Are we done here yet?
You really are just pathetic, do you know that? Even though we're texting, I can tell how much pain you're in after getting that message. You are so jealous of me and the amazing life that I'm going to have with my rich husband.
I actually really don't care at all about what you do with your life. We're not together anymore anyways. Is this really why you messaged me like this? You just wanted to brag about this to me? I knew I shouldn't have bothered responding.
You're only half right about that. I did want to brag about the amazing life that's in store for me. But I also wanted to let you know that my wedding is going to be on the 7th of next month.
Okay then. Why do you think I care about any of that after all that I've just said here?
Hello? Lucky number 7, don't you get it? It's going to be a really amazing day for me. And that's why you have to make sure that you come to my wedding and be there to see me get married.
Are you serious right now? You're seriously inviting me out to your wedding like this?
You really are dumber than you look, you know that? I'm doing you a favor here, don't you get that? I'm inviting you to an amazing wedding, the likes of which a lowlife like you would never get to see in your life. I knew I made the right choice when I decided to leave your broke self on the curb and find someone who can make sure that I'll live the life that I deserve. So why don't you swallow that stupid pride of yours and come to see me get married to my rich CFO fiance?
You know, I think I'll go. Let's do this thing. If that's what you want, I'll be there.
Wait, you're really serious? Oh man, this is going to be so good. I seriously cannot wait.
Well, it seems to me like I don't really have a choice in the matter at all. Hey there, Juan. Do you have a second to talk to me real quick?
Oh, hey there, Harry. Yeah, I can talk right now. What's on your mind? Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything is fine with me. Thanks for asking. And I just wanted to double check because I heard that you were going to get married soon. I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind telling me who the lucky person you're going to marry is. It wouldn't happen to be someone named Toby, would it?
Actually, yes. Man, you really do have a good memory. Oh, wait a second. Did I ever tell you who it was that I was going to be marrying? I can't recall.
Well, either way, it's actually Toby who I kind of wanted to talk to you about right now. I just happen to know Toby as well, and he's also getting married on the same day that you are. So I think we might be thinking of the same Toby, actually.
Wait, really? Are you serious? You know that? Now that I think about it, I saw your name on both mine and my fiance's list of the people who we're going to invite to our wedding. What a happy little coincidence.
Well, it certainly is some kind of coincidence. That much I can agree with you on.
But since you've been invited by both of us, that means we've got to arrange to get you a special seat at the wedding now. I mean, it's pretty rare for someone to be invited by both sides of a wedding, don't you think? Seriously, what are the odds?
I'm really glad you're so excited that I'm going to be there for the wedding and all. But if I can be honest, I really would rather just sit on your side of the aisle. And if possible, I really would like to downplay as much as possible the fact that Toby and I know each other. See, I don't know if you knew this, but him and I used to go out with each other for a while.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that my fiance is your ex-boyfriend? Are you serious?
I'm afraid that's how it seems. I was really surprised myself when I put it together.
Wow, well, what are the odds of that happening? That really is pretty crazy when you think about it.
Well, can I ask you a question? And please don't take this the wrong way, but you do love Toby, right? I mean, this isn't just like a marriage of convenience or something, right?
Yeah, of course I love Toby. I mean, we are getting married after all. I knew him because he was working as my secretary for my office. He's helped me through so much. So I guess the love just kind of came naturally.
I see. Well, if that's the case, then I won't press you about him any further. Certainly isn't my business anyways. But I just want you to know that, well, I'm just a little worried about Toby, and I hope you don't mind if I do some investigating. Just to put my own mind at ease. If you really would rather I just keep out, then I promise that I don't do anything you would consider going too far.
No, of course you can do whatever you like. I think you have great intuition and you've never let me down before, so of course I'm not going to tell you not to follow your gut. Besides, I understand why us getting married might make you a little uneasy. I know you're just trying to look out for everyone though, and I appreciate it. But I just want you to know that I know in my heart that Toby isn't the person you might think he is. I just know it. Oh man, that was the best wedding ever. It really was a masterpiece. No other way to say it at all. And I can't even remember the last time that I laughed that hard. I mean, really, to see some lowly little factory worker like you talking to my amazing CFO husband was just something else. And then, you even went to go and talk to his dad too. Oh man, it was like watching a car crash in slow motion. My stomach was hurting because I was laughing so much. But anyways, now that I've shown you just a taste of how amazing my new life is going to be, I never ever want you to talk to me or my husband ever again, got it?
You really have some nerve reaching out to talk to me after what you did. Do know that. Just who do you think you are?
After what I did? I'm sure that I have absolutely no idea at all what you possibly could be talking about.
I mean that I went to your wedding, was ready to be there to help the two of you celebrate. But then you had to get in my face and tell me that I wasn't worthy of talking to your husband. And on top of all of that, you had the nerve to throw your glass of wine all over my suit. What is the matter with you?
Are you really surprised that I did any of that? Do you really not think that you had that coming at all?
But that wasn't even all that you did. Then you shouted out loud to everyone that I wasn't even invited to the wedding, and you called me your crazy stalker. So I had no choice but to run out of there before people thought I was a dangerous person. Why in the world would you do this to me?
Because it was the funniest thing that I had ever seen done to anyone in my entire life, of course.
Are you serious right now? What is the matter with you? How can you think that's okay to do to someone?
Okay, now you're really starting to get on my nerves. You know that? I was kind enough to invite you to my amazing wedding, but that doesn't mean that you were on equal footing with all the other guests. I just had to make sure that you knew your place in all of this, and that's why I did what I did to you. If you didn't think that's going to happen, then that really shows just how clueless you are about how the real world works.
I was really hoping that you might have changed after all these years, even just slightly. But now I realize that you haven't changed at all.
Of course not. And would I even want to change when I'm already perfect just the way that I am, huh?
Whatever. I should have known better than to expect anything good out of you. Besides, I know you're just into Juan for his money.
Well, no, duh. Do you really think you're a genius for figuring that one out? But who wouldn't be? Besides, Juan is just too sweet to ever tell me no. All I have to do is ask, and he gives me all the money I want for whatever I need. That's why I'll never, ever have to work another day in my life.
But you do realize that it's only going to be a matter of time before he figures that out. And then your entire marriage is going to fall apart, right?
You have no idea how much of a pathetic little sore loser you sound like trying to scare me like that. The fact of the matter is that I know how to play my husband like a fiddle, and he'll never turn me down. This is all your fault. How could you do this to me? I was just fired as Juan's secretary. What did you tell him to ruin this for me?
I'm sorry, I thought that you didn't want me to talk to you ever again. Isn't that what you said? And either way, all I did was make sure that you got exactly what was coming to you. So if you're looking for someone to blame, start with yourself. After all, you were the one that showed all the guests at the wedding just the kind of person that you really are. Did you think that you were going to get away with that?
But, I mean, this doesn't make any sense. Even my father-in-law was stepping in to defend you. Why in the world would he even know who you are? He came up to me after I chased you out of the wedding and was shouting at me and asking me how I could do that to someone like you. It didn't make any sense at all. Why in the world would someone like Juan's dad even care about a little nobody like you, huh?
You'd think that for the secretary of the CFO of your company, that would know just a bit more about who the company deals with.
And just what is that supposed to mean, huh? What does someone like you even know about running a huge business like this? You don't know anything.
Are you sure about that? Because you might want to go and see who your company is contracted out for the manufacturing. Spoiler alert, it's my company.
Wait, what do you mean by that? I don't get it.
I mean that your and Juan's company relies on using my company to be able to manufacture its goods at a profit. Without our working relationship, your company wouldn't exist. It would run into the red so quickly with us.
But I still don't get it. Why would anyone want to stick up for you when you're nothing but another worker on the assembly line? It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I guess you really don't know all these things at all, do you? The fact of the matter is that my company has sites all over the country. So while you've been putting me down as some little nobody, you've really been talking about a huge national chain that operates just about everywhere you could think of. In fact, we're quite famous for just how many impressive clients we've worked with in the past. Your company is one of our biggest.
This can't be right. You're lying to me. I don't know how, but you've tricked everyone. This can't be happening at all.
I don't really care whether or not you believe what I'm trying to tell you. Because at the end of the day, it isn't going to change the facts on the ground, you know. But then again, you never were really one for thinking about anyone or anything else besides yourself. I remember when you and I were dating, you were always asking me for money. You would always insist on eating out at the finest restaurants. You would always demand that I buy you the most expensive brands of clothing and handbags. And worst of all, you never said thank you, and you always acted like you were entitled to it. But you really were missing the biggest detail of all that was right in your face the entire time. How in the world could I have managed to treat you to all of that if I really had the low-paying job that you think I had?
Oh, just shut up already. I don't have to take this from you. I know that you probably just got all your money from some kind of back alley dealings that you did at work.
No, I'm afraid that you are dead wrong about that. All the money that I spend on you was money that I had earned from my job. But you really should be glad. After all, you didn't get fired, really. You just got a demotion is all. And now you're just another person in the office.
How can you talk to me about that as if it's a good thing, huh? You don't seem to understand the gravity of the situation. I got demoted and I'm being told that I'll have to transfer to a new office. Out in the countryside!
Oh, I see. Well, at least you're still going to have a job after all of this. You should at least be grateful for that, right?
Oh, I'm more than grateful, actually. I'm so grateful because now I'm just going to quit so that I can go and be a full-time housewife for my rich husband. You think you took me down with the little stunt that you made me do at the wedding. But all you've done is given me the push I need to start my new life.
Are you really sure that that's how things are going to go for you?
You have no idea what you're talking about. You're nothing but a little loser, and I'm still the big winner here.
I guess we'll just have to see about that then, won't we?
I don't know how, but I know that this is all your fault. How could you do this to someone else? What's the matter with you? Juan just told me he wants a divorce. What did you tell him? What lie did you put in his head to make him do this?
I didn't lie to him about anything at all. All I did was show him the proof that I had gathered about you cheating on him. And why shouldn't I have done that? The poor man was in love with you and you betrayed him. I had to do something.
But I was trying to hide it. Why would you go and tell him all of that when it was obvious that I was trying to hide it? And just what in the world were you thinking hiring a PI to follow me around and find all of that stuff on me anyways, huh? Don't you realize that you've ruined me?
I really don't think that I've ruined you at all. You've done that yourself. All I've done is try and protect my friend.
What in the world are you talking about this time?
I mean that I wasn't about to let you try and drag Juan and his whole family down with him through your selfishness. That's why I sent him all of those photos. Of course, it was hard for me to do, and I hated hurting him like that, but he had a right to know.
But wait a second. This still isn't adding up at all. Are you telling me that you know my husband?
Of course I know your husband. Juan and I are really good friends. After all, the whole reason your company managed to work with mine is because of Juan. Our parents even know each other and used to hang out all the time. We all know each other and have spent plenty of time at each other's houses. Not only that, but now we're both in line to take over both of the companies that we work out of.
Well, hold on a second. What do you mean you're doing that to take over the company that you work for? That can't be right. And I don't care how you know my husband. It's clear that you're just trying to get close to him so that you can try and take advantage of all his money. You've been trying to act like you're so much better than me, but really, we're just the same.
You really don't know at all about where you work, do you? What is it like to be that ignorant?
And just what is that supposed to mean, huh? How dare you talk to me like that?
Look, the fact of the matter is my company is much larger than Juan's. I'm not bragging, it's just a fact. In fact, he was the one who came to me to ask for help when it was clear that his company was going to go under. He approached me and said that his overhead was way too high and that no matter what, he couldn't bring it down. So I sat him down with my team here, and we worked hard to figure out a deal that would benefit the both of us. And ever since we did, Juan's company has been back on track and growing steadily every single year. I'm honestly really proud of him. Obviously, my company had some hand in the success, but it really was mostly Juan's doing.
But I don't... This doesn't... You still haven't explained what any of this has to do with why you ruined my marriage.
Well, that one should just be obvious when you think about it. After all, I know exactly how you work and have experience dealing with you. You demanded that I buy everything in the world that you wanted from me, and then you went and stabbed me in the back. You were cheating on me the whole time that we were together, and that's why I thought that you might have been doing the same to poor Juan.
Well, of course I cheated on you. I hated being with you, and this is exactly why. You always ruin everything.
You say that, and yet that doesn't explain why I was able to find all that proof of you cheating on Juan. And you and him weren't just dating, you married him. I felt so horrible having to break the news to him. He really was so happy to be with you. So I started to look into you just a bit, and it wasn't long at all before the proof of you cheating came into light. I thought that you might have been doing just that to my friend. That's why I had to step in, so that I could try and protect him.
But, I mean, you were just an assembly line worker. This isn't the same. I had a good reason to break up with you.
Again, you keep saying that over and over again. But you're not explaining to me why it is that you chose to cheat on Juan, that you need to answer for your crimes, and I'm not going to let you get away with doing what you did to me with my best friend. You betrayed him, and I'm not going to let you get away with it. You're getting exactly what you deserve.
How dare you talk to me like that, you little nobody? I don't care what you say. I know that you're nothing but a little worker with no real power. And do you really think that you're going to turn my own husband against me? He married me. He loves me. He's never ever going to end things with me. Juan, are you there? Please, you can't believe a word that Harry's told you. He's nothing but a filthy little liar. He's always had it out for me, and he's willing to lie about whatever he needs to get his way. All those photos and texts and videos he sent you are all fake. They're all just AI generated. They're photoshopped. Harry is insane. You can't listen to a word he says about anything ever. You can trust me, though. I'm your husband. I'm on your side. Please, you have to know that you can trust me no matter what happens, okay?
You can't be serious about this, right? I mean, please tell me that you're joking.
No, I'm being serious. Harry really is crazy and he always has been. You can't trust a word that he says. It's all a lie. It's just a sick plot of his to try and get revenge on me.
Toby, I'm never going to listen to another word that you have to say to me. I loved you, but I don't think that you ever loved me.
I'm telling you that it's all fake. You can't trust anything from Harry. He has no idea what he's talking about at all.
It's over. Just stop this. It's already double-checked all of the evidence that he gave me, and I know that it's real. But honestly, I'm just shocked at you. How could you do this to me? He even showed me the messages that you were sending him. How you were talking bad behind my back. How you were trying to make a fool out of me this whole time. And that's why I'll never, ever, ever be able to trust a single thing you say to me. Ever again as long as I live. I want a divorce.
Don't say that. You don't really mean that. You don't really mean that, right? You're not really going to leave me? Please. You know that I've always been by your side. Are you really going to take the word of some lowlife over me?
Yes, you and I have been through a lot. And it's true that you have been a huge help to me at work. But the fact of the matter is I owe this whole company to the help that Harry's given me. He put not only himself but his job and even his company on the line to help me. And I can't just forget about that. He was always thinking about me and always working with everyone's best intentions in mind. He saved my business and now he's saving my personal life too. So if you think that I owe a lousy cheater like you anything, then you're dead wrong. You're nothing to me now, and I want this marriage to be over already.
But I'm your husband. You have to believe me, please. Everything I've ever done has always been for you. I swear. Please, you can't do this to me. We were supposed to be together forever.
But you never even wanted me. You were always only ever interested in my money, and now I see that. That's what I know, that I owe you nothing now. Harry told me all about how this is a pattern for you, how you sink your claws into rich men just to drain them of everything. And meanwhile, you run around with other men, spending my money on all your fancy dates where you were cheating on me. Well, I am not going to be made a fool of anymore. You and I are over, and that's that. We're through. Now we can do this the easy or the hard way. But just know that either way, you're going to pay.
In the end, Toby was sued for his affairs behind his husband's back, as well as for all of Juan's money that had been spent funding for those illicit dates. Toby was charged with so much money that he had to go into serious debt. So much so that I don't think he'll ever be free from it as long as he lives. Not only that, but it only took a couple of days before the whole office realized just the kind of person that Toby really was. Ironically, being transferred out of the office in the country was a good thing for Toby because it meant that he could escape all those hateful stares and glares that he began to get. Last I heard, he was living in a tiny, cramped apartment and was barely taking any money home after paying down his interest from all of his debt. A few months later, I was voted by the board of my company to lead it as CEO. I really have no idea why Toby thought I was still on the factory line. I told him that's where I started, but it had been years since I'd worked that job. As for Juan, I felt so bad for him. He was depressed for quite some time after all that had happened between the three of us. I was always reaching out to him and making sure he was okay. We would grab drinks after work or talk on the phone about how we felt about all of this. But now it really does seem like he's getting over that terrible Toby. Meanwhile, Juan and I are working on more joint projects for our companies to undertake now that Juan's company is back on track. I suppose being betrayed by the same man has brought us even closer together. We have a dinner meeting arranged this week to talk about business, but for some reason my stomach is full of butterflies and I'm stressing so much over what to wear.